Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, driven by your Southern California Honda dealers. Chris McGee, James Worthy, Robert Orr. We got Allie Clifton joining us in a little bit. We got Trudell and Brez working the post-game locker room. Guys, the defending champs get blown out in Game 5. They are now down 3-2 in the series. They were embarrassed. There's really no other way to say it. And you also got to give the Suns credit. They were ready for this moment, and they delivered in front of their home crowd. And if you're the Lakers, you look, it's the worst shooting night since 2010, 34.3%.
Yes, and you're right, Geeter. You do have to give Phoenix credit. Number 2 team in the league, best record. 6 in defense in the league. The Lakers are number 1. Phoenix is 6, and they played pretty good on the road as well. So you give them their credit. The Lakers, this reminds me of, like, I had a game like this. They called it the Boston Massacre.
Yeah.
But it was Game 1. And, you might expect, some jitters or some inconsistency in a Game 1. But after that, adjustments are made. You have to fight. The Lakers had won 2 games. Going back to Phoenix, they knew what they had to do, even without AD. And it just didn't seem like they were on a string together. The first 5 minutes, they hit some shots. Game was tied. But after that, the Phoenix just came with a wave of offense and defense. And the Lakers they didn't respond. They kept doing the same thing over and over. The rim, had a lid on it, it seemed like, tonight, because they got shots, but they just didn't fall. And so, like Rob said, they got to try to get ready for the next game and make the proper adjustments needed.
This game was god awful, and when you have a game like this in the playoffs, it can test your manhood. It can test who you are as a team, and I think this is one of those games that the Lakers needed. I think it's a game where they got smacked in the face. And hopefully it's one of those games that'll wake them up, because sometimes you watch the Lakers play, they don't play with a sense of urgency. They sit back, they let the game come to them instead of just taking it. If you look at the way the Phoenix Suns played, they wanted the game. They went out and took the game. They were in attack mode. And Lakers were like, okay, let's run our offense really slowly. And that's not what Phoenix Suns was doing. They were running their offense very fast. And when they played with that consistency of speed, they're a dangerous team. That's why they're one of the best teams in the NBA. And they only have 4 turnovers, so that lets you know that they was precise, they were attacking, and the Lakers had no answer for them.
What kind of makeup do you need? I mean, this is a team with championship experience and a lot of rings. What kind of makeup do you need in that locker room to not point fingers and to stay together, not get fractured, and not be broken, and bounce back?
Well, there's got to be a meeting of the minds. I mean, after a game like this, this might be the worst game I've ever seen in Laker history. But they got to talk. They got to have some conversation. And whatever has taken place, I don't know whether it's just a lack of playing time or AD out or whatever. But whatever has taken place that has gotten them off track, they got to find a way to kind of get it prepared for one game. They got to lay all these, I don't know what's going on, to have Schroeder not scoring any points. He didn't look like himself at all tonight. I know Pope was a little injured, gave it all he could, but I just didn't see any type of resistance, not even in the second half, just doing the same thing, and Phoenix just kept punking them and kept going at them as if they were like, I don't know. It looked like the Washington Generals tonight.
Yeah, they did. I saw it from the get-go, too, Rob. I mean, passing up shots, seemed to me. You trying to be too unselfish? Didn't want to take them? Is that a lack of confidence?
When you to me, it's not a lack of confidence. It's just trying to be sure. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you're trying to be sure, you make mistakes. Is this a shot? Do I have room to take this shot? Am I open? And at the end of the day, it's a simple game. You just play basketball. You move it. You take shots. You can't be afraid to take shots. I don't care if you're on the road, it's a Game 7, or you're at home, it's a Game 7, or Game 5 like tonight. You take shots and you put the other team on notice, like, yo, it's not gonna be easy tonight. I'm going at you just like you're going to me. Because if you watch the way Devin Booker played this game, I haven't seen him this aggressive in all of the games. He came out, put the team on his back, had like 4 and 1s in the first half. And that lets you know he's in attack mode. And the Lakers got to follow suit. They got to be in attack mode. We talk about going downhill, going north and south, get at them, get in the heart of their defense, because if you can get in the heart of their defense, they're soft.
I do want to talk about the second quarter. You're seeing that right there, that graphic, second quarter meltdown. James, you mentioned one of the worst games you've seen in Laker playoff history. That quarter is the worst. I mean, no field goals until 4 minutes and 21 seconds left in the second quarter. Not one. It was on a THT putback after a missed free throw. At one point, it was 23-1 in favor of the Suns. It ended up 32-10 in favor of the Suns. 12% from the field, 5 turnovers, 0 for 6 from 3. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, and no player being absent, I don't care how great he is, going to cause me to, hang my head and come out with a performance like that. I don't know what was going on, but that second quarter was, it was bad. It was bad as if Suns were just pounding them, and they just like, we quit. We can't resist. And so I don't know. I'm interested to hear what's going on in some of the players' mind, but to be, ramrodded like that and just run over, that was really interesting to watch with no resistance. I would have loved to see Tucker and Trez, guys who've been playing all year long, when you needed that energy. But we'll see what the adjustments they make. There's just not a lot to say about this game. It was ugly. It was really ugly.
Rob, we've talked a lot about the droughts throughout the year. I mean, yes, this team was 21-6, and then the injuries hit. We know that. And during that time, for the rest of the season, we're talking half the season, more than half, there were droughts. We talked about it every night on these shows, and it's carried over. And in that second quarter, it's ball game, just like third quarter on Sunday.
The droughts in this league happens a lot. Now, there's no one on the Lakers squad that's shooting the ball outside of LeBron in this last game, shooting the ball good from 3. Yeah. So when you have moments like that and you don't have a big you trust to go inside to get some easy buckets, think about it. There's no AD tonight. It's like Trez is the only other one that scores in the paint. He's not there. Drummond is setting picks. They don't use him in the pick and roll like the Suns do Ayton, so then there are no lobs. So there is a problem when they have these droughts, because it's almost like the Lakers are so stubborn. They say, we're going to knock down a shot instead of just going to the hole and trying to get an easy basket. And this is where all the analyticals of basketball come into play, where it says 3 is more than 2, and they want to take these outside shots. But sometimes you need to get a good percentage shot in the paint, layup, hook shot, dunk, or something, to see that rim crack open, and then you can make some outside J's.
More crazy stats for you. Starting backcourt for the Suns, Chris Paul and Devin Booker, 39. KCP and Dennis, 0. Dennis was 0 for 9. KCP was 0 for 1. There it is. If you want to go Devin Booker and Cameron Payne versus the starting backcourt for the Lakers, it's even worse. It's 46-0. I had something here after the third quarter. This is going into the fourth. I took all Lakers, all 5 guards. They were 2 for 20, James, with 9 points. Payne and Booker alone were 20 of 31 for 46. I mean, they just got outplayed in every way possible tonight. Big game.
And when you rewind back to game 1 and 2, we saw how Schroeder and Pope affected the guard play. They were all into Booker, frustrating him, picking him up. In fact, caused him to call a flagrant foul and get thrown out of the game. What happened to that? Because it didn't show up tonight. So I don't know if they have a problem sustaining their defense, the best defensive team in the league, to allow this team to, roam freely like they did and just dominate inside, outside, capitalizing on the Lakers' turnovers. You got to have a really good team meeting and see what's going on. Not because you're losing, it's how you're playing. And that's the key, is how you're playing the game. It's just not standard basketball Laker play.
Yeah, we talked about the guard play. You throw 3 up there. Even if we threw Caruso in there, who only had 5 points a night, they were just outplayed by the guards. And if you look at the way the Suns guards played versus the way the Lakers guard played, one team was in attack mode, one team was in a sit back and watch mode. And you can't be in a sit back and a watch mode. I know Caruso came out, took some shots, but if you watch the way the Suns play, it was points in the paint. They set you with that. Then it was knocking down threes. They was hitting you from all angles. And as a basketball player, you got to be able to play the game.